Greetings fellow ukuleleans, Jeff Weinberger coming at you here with a new tutorial. I'd like to talk about chords that have more than one identity today, and I'm going to talk about a specific chord that has three different identities. There are lots and lots of these, but today let's go over one of them. Let's just zero in on this one. And I've done videos with this chord before. I did a video about Route 66, the song that Nat King Cole made famous, and when you play that song in the key of G, the second chord in the tune is this chord called C9, which by itself is a beautiful chord, but that actually has some other identities too. Let's check out the three different identities this chord might have, and maybe a couple examples of places where you might use it. So C9, that'd be perfect as the 4 chord in a blues in G. So if we played a typical blues in G, so that C9 is going to be kind of a substitute for C7. If you've been playing the plainer, more normal sounding C7, that's a great chord, but C9 is just a little bit jazzier, has more of a mysterious sound to it, a little bit less plain and obvious as a C7. They're both great chords, but it really depends on the kind of tune you're playing and what kind of sound you're trying to project. So in that context, in a blues in G, C9 is a really nice 4 chord. And then that exact same chord in another disguise is called G minor 6. And a G minor 6, minor 6 chords in general, are used an awful lot in gypsy jazz, bossa nova, and jazz in general. So minor 6 chords, even some Beatles songs have some minor 6 chords in them. But here's a typical place you might hear a G minor 6. Let's use it as the 1 chord in like a minor blues in G. So that would be G minor, C minor, and D7 normally. Let's see what it is when we spice it up a little, and instead of just G minor, we play G minor 6. We're going to play C minor 6. We're just taking that G minor 6 up to the 5th fret. I'm going to show you how to finger all of these chords. I'm going to go back and show you the fingering. I haven't described any fingerings yet. And then the last chord, D7. We'll do D7. Maybe we'll do something funkier. But let's see. Let's see what comes out when we try to do a typical minor blues in G. So that just adds an extra bit of color. A regular G minor chord, a G minor 7, a G minor 6. A little darker, a little more mysterious. It's a great sound. So it works in all of these kind of contexts. That could have been a more Latin thing if you wanted. So in any style, the chords kind of function the same. The harmony remains the same, whereas the rhythm maybe changes. So very versatile. And then the last identity we're going to give this chord, before I talk about chord diagrams and how to play them, is E minor 7 flat 5. That's a very long name. I know that's intimidating for some, but it's not hard to play. It's no harder to play than a C9 chord. Really easy. And a C9 chord is no harder to play than an F chord. And I'm sure none of you are intimidated by the chord F. So we'll get into that in a second, the fingerings. But anyway, as promised, here comes an E minor 7 flat 5 in a context. Let's do E minor 7 flat 5, A7 flat 9, and D minor or D minor 6. Let's see what happens when we do that. that was kind of similar to what I did in the very intro. I did a progression much like that. All this is improvised, so it's all due to change, all subject to change, but kind of sticking to very specific chord progressions. Okay, as far as how to play these, a C9 chord is simply this: 0, 2, 0, 1. Very easy. But with very little effort, you get this great sound, this great sophisticated sound. And again, we're saying that same chord, 0, 2, 0, 1, can also function as a G minor 6. It can also function as an E minor 7 flat 5. So there's a rule about that. Let's think about that. We're not going to get into the specifics of the chord formulas and how to spell out these chords, but let's at least get a handle on these three chords and why they're called what they're called. So C9, if you're thinking about what's the dominant of that, what's the 5 of that, it would be G. And that's where our minor 6 chord comes from. So C9 equals G minor 6. It's 5 notes away. C, D, E, F, G. There's a quick and dirty way to figure that out. And then the other chord we were calling this was E minor 7 flat 5. Well, that's 3 up from C. C, D, E. 3 notes up. So E minor 7 flat 5. So there's an easy way to do it. Just think up 5, and that gives you your minor 6 chord. Up 3, and that gives you your minor 7 flat 5 chord from any 9th chord. And then you could reverse that if you needed to. If you needed to go from the minor 7 flat 5 to the 9. Now some of you are saying, whoa, this is way over my head. He is speaking gibberish. I don't understand any of that. I don't want to understand it. Well, that's okay. You don't have to. All you have to know is that this is a very easy to play chord. It has many identities. It has 3 different identities that we called it today. C9, G minor 6, and E minor 7 flat 5. And so take that for what it's worth. Those of you that are into music theory or like to play jazz, like a little bit of harmony and understanding it, that'll be comfortable for you. Those of you that don't, well, that's okay. At least you have a really cool chord with a nice sound and isn't too hard to play. You don't have to understand all that theory. Let's talk about some of the other fingerings. I used a chord way back that I was calling A7 flat 9. Easy chord. It is 0, 1, 0, 1. Just about any of you can play this chord, even though it sounds sophisticated. Not hard to play. And that was used in that context when we went. So 0, 1, 0, 1. Nice, easy A7 flat 9. And then the chord that I went way up high for when I took my G minor 6 chord, and I moved it up to get a C minor 6 for that kind of jazzy thing, or you could do like a Django sort of thing. I think I did more of a minor blues when I played it, but yeah, you could turn that into gypsy jazz too if you wanted to. So I refingered my chord. I did it as 0, 2, 0, 1, but look at the fingers I'm using. I'm using my 3rd finger, my ring finger, for the C string. I'm using my middle finger, my 2nd finger, for the A string. So my G minor 6 is easiest finger that way because I'm just sliding those 2 fingers up and then barring at the 5th fret to get a C minor 6. So that's an easy change. You don't have to change fingers. You don't have to lift off of the strings. You just glide along like this. Not a big deal to shift from one to the other. Whereas if you used your 1st and 2nd fingers, that would be a big deal. Good room for error there. I'm sure you could practice it and get it down, but why bother when there's such an easy way to do it? So obviously that's the way I favor. And then once again, in that Route 66 thing, we had a G6 chord that was 0, 2, 0, 3. No, I'm sorry, 0, 2, 0, 2. Going to C9, 0, 2, 0, 1. And then the last couple of chords I throw in there, these may or may not be in the original recording, but I like an A minor 7, which is all open. I like to do this D augmented thingy, which is 0, 3, 3, 2. I just like the way that resolves to G6. That's kind of an uncommon way to do it. A lot of people would just play D7. That'd be perfectly acceptable, but I like to play that chord. It's just an altered dominant chord. It's a substitute for D7. If you want a fancier, more sophisticated sound than D7, then that would be a reasonable substitute. Instead of it's very normal and plain, this is a little more uncommon. So there you have it, one chord that has 3 different identities that can be used in 3 very different type of situations and styles of music. Really versatile. We'll do some more of these in the future. We'll look at other chords that have dual identities and see what that's all about. Alright, ukulele people, I appreciate you watching. Be sure to subscribe, be sure to like, be sure to click the notify bell. Visit me over on Patreon, where I will give you chord diagrams and tabs and exercises concerning these chords. So head on over there. I'll leave a link down below, and I will catch you ukuleleans later. Bye-bye.